Imagine that you're able to live your life in such a way that you could do whatever you wanted to do, whenever you wanted to do it, and you could never get caught or face any consequence for your actions. That is, you could cheat on your exams in school, plagiarize papers, sleep with whoever you wanted to, or embezzle money from your employer and never worry about getting caught. In Plato's work, The Republic, the myth of Gyges sets out precisely the situation. In a parallel to Frodo putting on the ring in the film's trilogy The Lord of the Rings, Gyges was given the opportunity to live as an invisible entity, able to do anything he wanted without anyone discovering what he had done. That is, he could do whatever he wanted and would assuredly get away with it. Given the chance to live life like this, the question Plato raises is, would a person want to be moral? And if so, why? After a good deal of dialogue, Plato concluded that being moral was inherently valuable, apart from additional benefits it produced or harm that it enabled a person to avoid. How would you respond to the question, why be moral? Since the moral life and the moral decision-making are the focal points on this series, you can see that I am assuming being moral matters, and significantly. If you decide that being moral is not very important, then you probably will not spend much more time listening to this or any other series on ethics. But if being moral is important to you, the content of this series will be helpful in shaping how you view morality. Morality matters because most people, when they are genuinely honest with themselves, associate doing well in life with being a good person. Having moral character is still essential in most people's conceptions of what makes a person flourish in his or her life. For example, it is difficult to imagine a person being considered a success in life if he has gained his wealth dishonestly. It is equally difficult to call a person a success who is at the top of his profession but cheats on his wife, abuses his children, and drinks too much. On the other hand, we rightly hold up a person like Mother Teresa as a model of living a good life, even though she lacked most material goods that society values. One of the principal reasons of being moral is that it is central to most concepts of human fulfillment. For the Christian, being moral is critical to a life that seeks to honor God. We could say that being moral is inherently good because it is foundational to a person's flourishing in life. Since doing well in life and being a good person still go together for most people. The same holds true for society as a whole. Most people would not want to live in a society in which morality was unimportant, in which conceptions of right and wrong carried little weight. In fact, it is unlikely that any sort of civilized society could continue unless it had concern for key moral values, such as fairness, justice, truthfulness, and compassion. Ethics are important because they give direction to people and societies who have some sense that they cannot flourish without being moral. This is sometimes referred to as a social contract theory, which maintains that a society, people, generally agree to abide by certain moral rules and standards for the sake of social order and peace. Thomas Hobbes, for example, insists that something like this social contract is necessary if societies are to avoid his state of nature, which he describes as war of all against all. This type of society Hobbes wanted to avoid is exemplified in William Golding's novel Lord of the Flies, in which a social order without morality degenerates into a world that very few people would want to live. Many thoughtful observers of today's culture are growing increasingly concerned about a breakdown in morality, particularly among students and young adults. They cite phenomena such as drug use, alcoholism, teenage pregnancies, violence, juvenile delinquency, crime, and sexual transmitted diseases as evidence of a moral fabric of society coming unraveled. Morality matters because moral questions are at the core of life's most vital issues. Morality is primarily concerned with questions of right and wrong, the ability to distinguish between the two, and the justification of the distinction. Closely related are such questions as what is a good person? What things are morally praiseworthy? What constitutes a good life? And what would a good society look like? These are fundamental to your view of the world. You cannot formulate an adequate worldview without providing answers to these moral questions. Your view of morality is connected to other critical questions that your worldview must answer. Everyone has a worldview, that is, a set of intellectual lenses through which a person sees the world. Of course, not everyone's worldview is well thought out or entirely consistent. Nonetheless, everyone has one. In fact, when someone makes a distinction for Christian faith, he or she not only begins a relationship with God, but also adopts a new set of lenses through which he sees the world. The same is basically true of adopting other faiths or no faith. The commitment comes with a worldview, a set of ideas to which you are also committed. You cannot have an adequate worldview without a view of morality.